Many nights a week, I was waking up in my sleep through frustration. I want to show him my body, but this doesn't look like the sort of room where an examination is done. He wasn't prepared to do a procedure that was going to cause one such consequence. Through the clinic rep of Jinemed Hospital, Istanbul, Turkey, I organised having my ovarian cortex frozen to delay my menopause and to have my eggs frozen. The surgery that I ended up having, though, wasn't the surgery that I'd booked. Hi there, just reached Istanbul airport and I'm about to go and meet the pickup guy. I'll show you what it looks like if you want to know. There you go. Duty-free shopping, which is always more expensive than non-duty-free shopping. And back to me, so let me go and meet the lovely person who's come to pick me up. Also tomorrow at 10:15, in the morning, I have got an appointment with the professor who's going to be doing my gynecological treatment. Here we are, another sunny day in Istanbul. And my appointment that I was given today has now been moved to tomorrow because of the weather. Oh well. They did subsequently send me a car that day, despite the bad weather, and took me to the hospital. Because you see, once I informed them that I was on day 4 of my period, they saw that regarding my fertility surgery, there wasn't a second to lose. I've just had an examination. I've had to take all my top clothing off and put this garment on, and I'll show you the machine that I was tested with. This is the machine that I was tested with. I had to go to it and basically hug it, and I had to take a deep breath and hold it. Yeah, I had to take all my top garment off. I'm now getting dressed, and I have to go and provide a sample. You never guess what this is for. My room at Jinemed Hospital in Istanbul, Turkey. I'll come into the bathroom now and show you. So I've got these 2 things on my wrists, and bit by bit I'm being prepared for the surgery, and that's me. So a few hours ago I had my gynecological surgery. It all went really well. I was under a general anaesthetic, but I'm totally fine, so I can go home now. I don't have to stay the night. I'm grateful and I'm happy. Now, initially, having my ovarian cortex frozen was all I was after, and that would have cost £5,000. But the clinic rep told me that at the same time as I had that procedure, I could also have my eggs frozen and that it wouldn't cost any extra. So I, of course, agreed. Now, when I met the lovely and wonderful and warm Professor Texen, which was when I'd travelled to Jinemed in Istanbul, he said, yes, I can do both those procedures, freezing your ovarian cortex and freezing your eggs, but not in the same operation. Doing the 2 procedures together, he told me, would have caused way too much bleeding, and he wasn't prepared to do a procedure that was going to cause one such consequence. He advised me to have the egg freezing done first and then to return 2 months later to have my ovarian cortex frozen if I was going to go ahead with that. Now, I figured that that would have cost not £5,000 as I'd been quoted, but of course twice that, £10,000. That's what I think anyway. The clinic rep had told me that my menopause could be delayed by 10 years. Professor Texen said that at 46, I could expect no more than a 2-year delay and that it just wasn't worth it. Professor Texen was no less willing to freeze my eggs. He actually recommended me to have that done. There's more chance of a cyst on the ovary developing into something dangerous in an older woman than in a younger woman. After my initial meeting with Professor Texen, where he told me it just wasn't worth me at the age of 46 having my ovarian cortex frozen to delay my menopause, I made the decision not to have my eggs frozen either. Now, the cyst that Professor Texen discovered on one of my ovaries when, during that first consultation, he performed an ultrasound scan of my ovaries was benign. And as such, having it removed was by no means a necessity. But as an older woman with a greater risk of having the cyst develop into something dangerous, I wanted it gone. And I also wanted the skin tag on my vulva gone as well. It had lived there for quite long enough by then, I felt. Now, a few days after, I had a third consultation with Professor Texen, and I can prove it. Just waiting to see the professor for my follow-up. That's his name, in case you wondered. I'm going to show him my body, but this doesn't look like the sort of room where an examination is done. But anyway, we'll see. The ultrasound scan that he performed in that third consultation showed that my ovaries were clear of any big fat cysts, because by then I'd had the cyst removal surgery, and also by then I had no skin tag because that was removed in the same surgery. But Gina wasn't happy. Professor Texen told me that he was unable to remove my hemorrhoid, which was on my vulva, during the surgery to remove my cyst and my skin tag, because I hadn't consented to having it removed before the surgery. And God only knows how both Professor Texen and I missed the hemorrhoid on my vulva before I had the surgery. You see, after the surgery, I checked my vulva and I got really upset because sitting on my vulva was a bright pink bubble of skin, which Professor Texen diagnosed as a hemorrhoid. He also said that I should just forget about it. Hemorrhoids are common and harmless. But he also said that if I really wanted to have it removed, I could have it removed any time and I would only need a local anaesthetic. And the surgeon, Dr. Bunyamin, he might actually be a professor as well. It might be Professor Dr. Bunyamin, who Professor Texen sent me to for a second opinion on the hemorrhoid, as he called it, said the exact same thing. Now, the hospital that I went to a day or two later to see about having my apparent hemorrhoid removed by laser is completely unrelated to Jinemed. I think it's called Birinci. And there, Dr. Gökhan had a look and he told me that there was in fact no blood vessel in that bubble of skin, which meant that it wasn't actually a hemorrhoid, which meant that he wasn't able to remove it by laser. He said it was just skin, the remainder, in fact, of my previous skin tag. But again, he said, just forget about it. These things are normal and they're harmless and nobody gives a toss. My response to his advice, however, was somewhat contrary, you might say. And that led to me having my second general anaesthetic in the space of 15 days because I had surgery to have the skin removed. Cyst removal at Jinemed was £3,000 and the removal of the skin tag, which was done in the same surgery as the cyst removal, was £1,000, and then the removal of the remainder of the skin tag at another hospital with Dr. Gökhan was £880. And that, viewer, is what to do when your fertility surgery expedition goes wrong. Now, I've got no children and I'm now never ever going to have any children. When I was younger, I definitely wanted children. In my late 20s and my early 30s, I was actually starving for motherhood. And I in fact went through a period of about 2 years where many nights a week I was waking up in my sleep through frustration at not having a baby, through frustration at finding myself not pregnant, the frustration of having no prospect whatsoever of becoming a mother anytime soon. Now, I attribute my failure to have children ultimately to a lack of confidence on my part, and I will go into the detail of that in another video. As a childless person, I can be completely selfish, and I think my extensive and expensive history of cosmetic surgery bears testimony to that. I'm footloose and fancy free. I regret not having children. It's my own stupid fault as far as I'm concerned, and I regret it. If you've enjoyed this video, then I recommend you to watch this one next. I'll meet you there.